Let's talk a little NFL. Let's talk a little college football. Let's combine them, talk a little NFL draft with our guy Joe DeLeone, the host of the Ruffino and Joe Show and the Hack City Pod. Also covers the NFL and college football for A to Z Sports. Former long snapper at Rhode Island. You can follow him on Twitter at Joe DeLeone. Joe, what's going on, brother? How you been, man?
Good. Next week's the Combine, so I'm trying to take as much of an opportunity as I can to catch my breath, because next week is going to be a lot of sleepless nights, a lot of chaotic, a lot of craziness going on in Indianapolis. Couldn't be more excited for things picking up soon for the draft.
Yeah, I'm assuming you'll be in Indy, right?
Yes. Oh, I will be there. I'll be boots on the ground. So when I hop on with you guys on Wednesday, I'll be 2 days into barely sleeping and probably being up until 3 the night prior on Tuesday.
Just don't do a Mark Sanchez.
I have no plans to. I've got no plans to.
Yes, please don't get stabbed. Anyway, Joe, we just debated our top 5 QBs right now in the last segment. Brad's 5 through 1. He had Mahomes at 5, then Joe Burrow, then Drake May, then Josh Allen, then Matthew Stafford. And I had 5 through 1, Jordan Love, Lamar Jackson, Matthew Stafford, Patrick Mahomes, and Josh Allen at 1. I know I'm asking you on the spot here, Joe. Who's your top 5 QBs right now in the NFL?
Yeah, you guys gave me a quick second here to put together my top 5, and I think I've got a solid list that's a nice mix of both of what you guys put together. The only guy that I don't feel belongs on there is Jordan Love. I think that he's a year away or a few years away from actually like playing to the potential that we just keep projecting for him, that he is yet to really truly reach. My top 5, though, I'd probably go Stafford at 5. I'd go Drake May at 4. I'd go Lamar Jackson at 3. Mahomes at 2. Josh Allen at 1. Allen's got to be number 1. We've seen the way that he's elevated his team despite not having very many good receivers. Mahomes, understandably, was a little bit of a down year this past year, but the whole Chiefs offense was completely out of sorts. I think they need to go get him another receiver. Maybe they draft Jeremiah Love this year. They need to get him a better supporting cast. Lamar, even though he's been banged up, is still one of the most elusive and difficult quarterbacks to tackle in the NFL, and he's also developing every single year into an even better passer, it seemingly feels like. And now I guess where the controversy comes into play, am I projecting a little too much by saying I'd take May over Stafford? I don't think there's anything crazy about that, because Stafford's got like 1 year left in him, and we're looking ahead to next season. Drake May did what he just did in his second year with a below-average offensive line, 1 really good receiver, and a bunch of 3rd and 4th receivers as his other primary targets. I don't think it's crazy to say that May in 2026 is going to be better than Stafford, even though Stafford won out in the MVP debate last year.
Oh, did you hear that, Brandon Combs? Drake May in the top 5. Oh, you got to give me credit. Joe DeLeone
Stay
is
off the weed.
Hey, Joe, pass the blunt. I mean, come on, man. Drake
Smoking
May's
the right
gotta be
things,
top.
apparently.
Yeah, we are, because we're intelligent human beings. Joe, the Rams have a pair of first-round picks at their disposal, drafting at number 13 and number 29 in this year's NFL Draft. Right now on NFL Mock Draft Central, Mekhi Lemon, wide receiver, is the aggregate selection at number 13, but with only 22% of the mocks forecasting that pick. Meanwhile, cornerback Brandon Cisse as the most popular mock pick at number 29 for LAR, but only at 18% of the total mocks. What are the most likely areas of focus for the Rammies in round 1 with those 2 picks this year?
Yeah, I think that it's going to be either of those 2 positions. It's going to be wide receiver. It's going to be corner. If you look at what they're trying to be able to capitalize on with having 2 first-round selections and maybe making one final run with Matthew Stafford, it's adding another weapon. Devontae Adams was great this year as the secondary option to Puka Nacua, but it would be great for them to have a tertiary option. But also, once Adams reaches that point where he's no longer explosive, that player can step up. I love the idea of Mekhi Lemon. I think that Mekhi Lemon would be a perfect fit for this offense and would be a total home run threat. He might get a little overlooked during this class because he's not a super big receiver. He's not going to be a ridiculous 4.4 burner. He might be more of a 4.5 guy. He's more quicker than fast. But where he wins and where a lot of Rams receivers have won with Nakua and Cooper Kupp, he's a great route runner and he's super smart. He's got such a great feel for the game and understanding of spacing, where he is on the field, where defenders are, where he needs to run his routes in order to create separation and to become open, get open in between zones. I think that translates immediately. The idea of Cisse or Colton Hood as that second selection, or maybe they take Jermon McCoy or Mansour DeLeone with the first selection, getting another starting outside corner needs to be handled in this draft. But I will throw out there, I don't think people should totally overlook the concept of them taking Ty Simpson if he's on the board at 13. I feel like if Simpson shows up and interviews well, and if he does throw, he should throw at the combine because he will look really good on field, because when he's not getting pressured, he's a really natural passer. I think he's going to rise, and he could end up being a slam dunk top 15 pick. I think the Rams should consider it, because when else are they going to have a pick this high? When is the next time that they're going to be picking this high in a draft class where there's a lot of first rounders that typically would not be first round picks? It is a down year. Take a player who could fit your system and work towards building around him once Stafford eventually retires.
Wow, that's a bold take. I absolutely love it, Joe. Speaking of a team that needs a quarterback and pretty much everything under the sun, that's the New York Jets, who are just going to be downright bottom dwellers, to say the least. The betting market at BetMGM has a JETS, Jets, whoever picks at number 2, going Arvell Reese out of the Ohio State at a -155. Do you feel that's a foregone conclusion if it is indeed the Jets, and if they don't trade out of that position at number 2 overall? And assuming he lands with New York, can that defense, which finished number 30 in EPA per play D last season, regain, I don't know, a modicum of respectability? Are the Jets really going to be that bad? And is Reese going to solve some of their defensive issues if they go with him at number 2?
I think right now it's going to come down to, unless another player enters the race, it's going to be Reese or it's going to be David Bailey, the pass rusher from Texas Tech. And then I'm not saying that off of any sourcing, but just more so which of the two guys have the best talent and would fit their needs. I think that Arvell Reese is better suited to help address the Jets' issues more than David Bailey. Adding another premier pass rusher is always going to be a smart approach, and I think that his explosiveness and his jump and his progression and his technique as a pass rusher would allow for him to maybe make an immediate impact. But Reese is such a unique prospect. He is a guy who can play off ball with good instincts, be a really good run defender, but then be deployable from different alignments across a defense. He can rush the passer off the edge. He can be a total mismatch for centers and guards being deployed as a blitzer in the middle. I think that there is such a unique use for what he could become. And that could be, as you're talking about here, for them to get back to being competitive, that is the type of a guy that in the future could become an all-pro level player. And I don't think the Jets should overthink it. I think that they should take him, they should use him creatively, and they should reap the benefits after making that selection.
Good answer. And they need to help on that defense. That'd be a good place to start. We're talking with Joe DeLeone, host of the Ruffino and Joe Show and the Hack City Pod. He covers the NFL, covers college football, covers the draft for A to Z Sports. You can find him on Twitter at Joe DeLeone. He's with us here on BetMGM tonight, Westwood One Sports. He's Brad Evans on Pat Boyle. Joe, the Chiefs made some big news today by restructuring Patrick Mahomes' contract to free up more than $43 million of cap space. Wasn't a big surprise. There's still double-digit million bucks in the red with the league year beginning in 3 weeks. This was kind of expected, but they're going to need to restructure some more contracts in the next few weeks. You mentioned them potentially drafting Jeremiah Love at 9. Brad and I have been begging for that to happen. Notre Dame running back to Arrowhead, really give a boost to that running back room. But what are the other biggest needs of the Chiefs right now in the other rounds of the draft? And maybe more importantly, how aggressive will they be in free agency? Any free agents off the top of your head you think KC should be going after?
Well, as you mentioned here, they're still in the red, so I don't know how truly aggressive that they're going to be able to be in free agency. And they've got a number of guys defensively in their defensive backfield that could potentially be free agents this year. I would love for them to be able to keep Leo Chenal as well. I think that the priority should be keeping a lot of these homegrown guys, especially on that defense that kept them alive in games. The biggest key is using this draft class, I think, as a chance to restock the weaponry for Patrick Mahomes. I think that ultimately Jeremiah Love, if he's on the board, should be the pick. Pacheco is just been a really solid running back, and he's gotten the job done, but he is more of an RB2, and they've gotten by with him just being solid enough. Imagine if they had a home run threat and Mahomes didn't have to do everything. It felt like their run game was so stagnant, and if they had someone with that level of explosiveness that every single time he touched the rock, he could be going to the house, it gets the Chiefs right back to their hunt to getting back to a Super Bowl. And I think at some point on day 2, they need to look for more receivers. Maybe they take somebody like an Elijah Surratt from Indiana, an Omar Cooper from Indiana. Maybe they go with Casey Concepcion from Texas A&M if he's still on the board. I just feel like there are weapons and there's speed there, but it felt like they were really lacking that premier go-to reliable target for Mahomes. And I also think that tight end is something that they need to address, because we need to stop pretending Travis Kelce is anywhere near the level of player that he once was. He is a shell of himself. He should be phased out more and more over time, and they need to get a young guy to bring into that offense. Maybe Kenyon Sadiq, maybe it's Eli Stowers on day 2, maybe it's Max Clare from Ohio State. There are plenty of options for them to turn to.
Yeah, here's a suggestion. Go ahead and hang up the cleats, Travis. It's been a hell of a career, Hall of Fame career, but your best days long behind you. Joe, we're obviously months away from the beginning of the NFL season, and we need to see what happens to free agency and, of course, the draft. You're a riverboat gambler. I know you are, who doesn't mind tying up your money for months on end like this fool. Is there any title ticket worth grabbing, maybe getting ahead of the impending roster moves? Right now at BetMGM, the top 3 teams in the title market are Seattle, naturally, at plus 800, the LA Rams at plus 900, and a bit of a surprise, the Baltimore Ravens at plus 1200. So I don't know if you've seen Super Bowl title tickets and the odds for next season, but if you have, anything tickle your fancy?
Well, I think that the Seahawks are the team that I was immediately jumping to when I was looking at futures right after. I literally pulled them up the day after the Super Bowl because I was curious if I wanted to put anything down. But the Seahawks, to me, I think makes the most sense to reinvest in. I know that it's not likely that teams repeat as Super Bowl champions, and a lot of things would need to go well for them to get back there, because you've got the Bills reloading, you've got the Chiefs reloading, you've got the Ravens reloading who are breathing down their neck, you've got the Rams trying to get back to – there's going to be a lot more improvement, I think, for the teams that are going to be hunting them down. But the Seahawks are in such a unique position. They have the 6th most cap space. I believe they have $53 million in cap space. They can bring back Kenneth Walker and Boye Mafe and Tariq Woolen if they choose to, and still have a lot of money left over. I think that the Seahawks, if they're smart, should be spenders, should go after some of the big name guys at particular positions. Maybe it's improving their offensive line just a hair more. Maybe it's adding another wide receiver, bringing back Rashid Shaheed. Maybe it's something along those lines. They also have an opportunity through the draft to add a couple more key pieces, and they have historically been a team that drafts tremendously well. So I think that the Seahawks, being in such a unique circumstance, the fact that they've got all this money to play with is where that projection comes from and why it makes sense, and it's not just blind. But I will say, I mean, if the Chiefs end up back in the Super Bowl again, it's not going to surprise me. But I don't want to jump to that conclusion until I see how they maneuver this offseason, because there are a lot of hurdles that need to be jumped over before they can really get back on that path.
Joe DeLeone with us here for about another minute on BetMGM tonight. Joe, you mentioned you'll be at the Combine next week in Indy, boots on the ground. Who are a couple of players that are going to drop some jaws and open some eyes with either their 40-yard dash or QBs who will throw at the Combine, or guys vertical? Which guys will jump up draft boards in another way to say it here, in your opinion, next week?
Yeah, I one thing always caveat that's important with this is that there's such an annoyingly strong chance that a lot of these guys decide that they don't want to perform. Caden Proctor, I think, is going to look ridiculous if he ends up testing, and I think that he should because he is an insane athlete at the 360 pounds that he's at. Peter Woods, defensive tackle from Clemson, is also another player who is a physical freak and is just going to look really, really fluid in all those drills. I think that Eli Stowers and Kenyon Sadiq at tight end are important to pay attention to. Nick Singleton, the running back from Penn State, is a guy who I believe is going to build some buzz because big framed kid is going to run fantastically well in a straight line. It's what he's built to succeed at. But the one player who maybe has a chance to strike the 40-yard dash record, Brennan Thompson from Mississippi State. We always look ahead to this, who can break the record. Usually doesn't end up coming to fruition unless your name is Xavier Worthy. But Brennan Thompson can absolutely fly, and he would be the one guy that I'm tracking. Just want to throw in there, quarterbacks to watch, Taylon Green, Cole Payton, both really good athletes, both could test well, both could be risers, and I think are trying to enter into that QB2 discussion when there really isn't much of a clear case for, or the QB3 case rather, for who's going to be that third quarterback taken.
Joe, we appreciate it as always, brother. Can't wait. I know you'll be on limited, minimal sleep next week when we talk to you in Indy, but I know that you'll be caffeinated, and we can't wait to chat with you then, man. Enjoy it.
Absolutely. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Joe.
There you go, the great Joe DeLeone. Make sure you follow him on Twitter at Joe DeLeone. And follow all his content because he'll be posting stuff from Indy. The guy is a savant, and he was on the field for the Senior Bowl and the practices. He might find a way to get on the field in Indy next week. Don't be surprised if he weasels his way onto the field in Indianapolis.